The alien girl needed help, and the human knocked at the worst time. Kira sat alone in her small apartment, staring at the blinking light on her wall panel. The rent notice glowed red. Overdue. Again. She sighed, brushing her glowing blue fingers through her short silver hair. Life on Villa 9 wasn't easy, especially not for someone like her. Young, alone, and working a job that barely paid enough to buy food, let alone cover rent. Her last roommate had vanished without warning 3 cycles ago. Kira didn't ask questions. Asking questions in this city only brought trouble. But now she needed someone, anyone, to move in, or she would lose her home. She stood and tapped the wall panel. Her voice trembled slightly as she recorded the message. Roommate wanted. Quiet space. No pets. No questions. Low rent. She hit send, and the message beamed out into the planetary network. The next day, just as she returned from work, someone knocked on her door. Kira froze. No one ever came to her door. She didn't have friends. No neighbors visited. Even the delivery bots just dropped things at the box. She approached slowly, heart beating fast. Her hand hovered over the door scanner. Her apartment was on the edge of the district, too close to the old mining zone, too far from the safe part of the city. She opened the door. A tall human male stood there. His clothes were torn, one sleeve missing. His arm was bleeding, badly. His short dark hair was messy, and his eyes, green, sharp, looked directly into hers. You posted the ad?" he asked, his voice rough. Kira blinked. She had expected someone desperate, yes. Maybe even someone a little weird. But not this. "You're hurt," she said. "Yeah. I just need a place. For a while." He leaned against the doorway, breathing hard. "Please." Kira hesitated. Every instinct told her to say no, to shut the door and call someone. But those green eyes looked tired. Not dangerous. Just tired. "What's your name?" she asked quietly. "Jake," he replied. "Jake Turner." She opened the door wider. "Come in." He collapsed on her couch the moment he stepped inside. Kira ran to her small cabinet and pulled out a med patch. She knelt beside him and pressed it to the wound on his arm. He winced but didn't complain. "This will stop the bleeding," she said. "Thanks." They sat in silence for a moment. "So," she said, trying to sound casual, "why are you here?" "Like I said, I need a place." He looked at her. "I'll pay rent. I won't bother you." "You didn't answer my question," she said, her voice firm now. Jake sighed and looked away. "Let's just say I'm in trouble, but not the kind that will hurt you, I promise." That didn't make her feel better. Kira stood and crossed her arms. "Listen, Jake, I don't want trouble in my home. You already invited it," he said softly. She blinked. "What?" He shook his head. "Nothing. Look, if you want me to leave, I will." He started to stand, but stumbled. She grabbed his arm to steady him. She felt the heat in his skin. Fever. Infection. "You're not going anywhere," she said, annoyed with herself. "Not in that state." Later, while he rested, Kira cleaned the blood from the floor. She found his torn jacket stuffed under the couch. Curious, she picked it up, and something metal fell out. A small black device, like a communicator, but older. Military design. Kira stared at it. It blinked once, twice, then stopped. Her fingers trembled. Who exactly was Jake? That night, Kira woke to a strange sound. Whispering. She got out of bed and stepped quietly toward the living room. Jake sat in the dark, facing the black device. Red light glowed on his face. He was speaking in a language she didn't recognize. His voice was low, serious, and fast. Then silence. He looked up and saw her. For a second, neither moved. "Couldn't sleep either?" he asked, calm as ever. Kira nodded slowly, pretending nothing was wrong. But deep inside, one thought echoed in her mind. What have I let into my home? She offered kindness. He built walls. The sun of Velira 9 rose slowly, its twin light casting a blue glow across Kira's apartment. Inside, everything felt colder than usual. Jake was already awake. He stood at the kitchen counter, silently staring at a mug of steaming green tea. He didn't drink it. Kira watched him from the hallway. The night still haunted her, the red glow of that strange device, his strange language, the calm lie on his face when she caught him. He had secrets, big ones, but she had already made a choice. You sleep at all? She asked. Some, he replied, not turning around. She stepped into the room, arms folded. Look, Jake, you're here now. But if you're bringing danger to my doorstep, you need to tell me the truth. He finally looked at her. I didn't ask you to help me, he said. But I did. And now you're under my roof. He went quiet. For the next 2 days, Jake barely spoke. He spent hours staring out the window or tinkering with the strange device when he thought Kira wasn't looking. He ate little, barely slept, and kept a small backpack close at all times, never letting it out of his sight. Kira tried to be patient. She made meals, asked soft questions, gave space. But kindness bounced off him like rain off stone. He was polite, sure, but distant, like a man who had built tall, thick walls around something too painful to face. One evening, she found him sitting in the dark again, staring at the device. Who are you really? She asked. He didn't answer. The next day, Kira visited the local market. Her plan was simple: buy food, maybe find cheap meds. But what she heard changed everything. 2 patrol guards stood near the fruit stand, whispering. Human male spotted near the old sector, maybe the fugitive. The one from the wrecked science ship. Yeah, they say he stole something from both governments, killed his own team. Kira's heart stopped. What's his name? The vendor asked. They're calling him Jake Turner. She dropped her bag. The guards looked her way. She forced herself to smile, pick up the bag, and walk away calmly. But inside, she was shaking. Back at home, she opened the door slowly. Jake wasn't on the couch, not in the kitchen. The shower wasn't running. Her heart raced. His bag was gone. She turned, panic rising, but stopped. He was in her room, sitting on her bed, holding a photo from her nightstand. You look happy here, he said quietly. Put that down, she snapped. He set the photo down gently and stood. I wasn't stealing. Really? Like you didn't steal from your own crew? She shot back. His face turned cold. You heard something, he said. I heard enough. They stared at each other, tension thick in the air. Finally, he spoke. You want the truth? He asked. Yes. He took a deep breath. I didn't kill my crew. They died because someone set us up. We were on a science mission, yes. But we found something we weren't supposed to. And when we reported it, Command told us to destroy it. What was it? Kira asked. A prototype weapon. Powerful. Illegal. Built with alien tech. Maybe yours. Kira's stomach turned. When I refused to destroy the evidence, someone blew up our ship. I barely escaped with my life. Why would they do that? Because the Alliance and your government, they're hiding things that could start a war. Kira backed away. You expect me to believe all that? I don't care if you believe me, but I'm telling the truth. He walked toward her slowly. They're not just hunting me, Kira. They're watching you now too. What? She whispered. I saw the patrol outside, yesterday. They're scanning buildings, tracking heat signatures. They know I'm not far. Her voice shook. So what do? We run. That night, Kira couldn't sleep. The shadows in her room felt heavier, the silence louder. Outside, distant engines hummed. She stood by her window, staring at the patrol lights flashing across the rooftops. Then she heard a sound behind her, A whisper. Jake, talking again to the device. But this time, she recognized one word in the strange language. Exodus. The same word that was painted on the burned ship she'd seen once on the news, the one destroyed without survivors. Her blood turned cold. Later, while Jake slept, Kira crept toward his bag. She hesitated, then slowly unzipped it. Inside, folded beneath clothes, was a thin metal box. She opened it. A badge, not just any badge, a high-level clearance tag from the Alliance's top-secret division. Beside it, a photo. 5 crew members, all smiling. Jake was in the center. She recognized one face from a memorial post online. They were all listed as dead, all except him. She quickly zipped the bag closed and backed away. Jake didn't move. But when she returned to her room, she saw a message blinking on her wall panel. Your building will be scanned tomorrow at sunrise. Prepare for security inspection. Her hands trembled. She had less than 1 day, and everything was falling apart. Secrets he kept could start a war. The morning came fast. But for Kira, sleep never did. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the blinking warning on her wall screen. Security inspection at sunrise. She looked toward the closed door of the living room. Jake was still asleep, or pretending to be. His secrets were now too big to ignore. Her hands still remembered the feel of that cold metal badge. The photo of the smiling crew burned in her mind. She had trusted him, fed him, helped him. But who was Jake Turner, really? The security forces arrived with a deep humming sound. 2 hovercrafts hovered outside the building. Drones spread through the air like silver insects. Residents peeked through windows. Some ran. Some locked doors. Kira stayed frozen. A voice echoed through the street. Residents, prepare for building sweep. Remain calm. Her heart raced. They were here. For him. Or maybe, for both of them. Inside, Jake opened his eyes slowly. The sound outside didn't surprise him. It was only a matter of time. He stood, picked up his bag, and walked to Kira's room. She turned sharply, fear in her eyes. They're here, she whispered. I know, he said calmly. This is your fault. Yes. She stared at him. He dropped the bag and opened it slowly. You want to know the truth. Then listen. Because after today there may not be time for second chances. She nodded, though her chest felt like it would explode. He pulled out a small flat disk. It looked like a simple data chip. This, he said, is why they want me dead. Kira took a step back. A chip. Not just a chip, he said. It holds designs for a weapon. Not a bomb. Not a laser. Something worse. He placed the chip on her desk and tapped it twice. A hologram blinked to life above it, rotating 3D models, long codes, heat maps. This is a TerraCore destabilizer, he said. It drills into a planet's core and causes it to collapse. Silently. From the inside. Kira's voice broke. Why would anyone build that? Control, Jake answered. A weapon you never see coming. No blood. No war. Just silence. He stared at the images like he was still haunted by them. My team found the files on a hidden server, a joint operation, humans and alien engineers. When we tried to report it, our ship exploded. I barely made it out alive. But the chip, I saved it. Why? Kira whispered. Because the galaxy deserves to know what they're doing. Just then, a knock hit the door, hard and loud. Open up. Security forces. Kira froze. Jake moved fast. He shut the hologram, hid the chip in his jacket, and grabbed her arm. We go out the back, he said. There is no back door, she whispered. Then we make one. They ran to the bathroom. Jake pulled a sharp tool from his boot and slammed it against the window lock. The window cracked. He kicked again. It shattered. He climbed out first and reached back for her. Trust me, he said. She hesitated, but then followed. Outside, The alley was tight. Shadows stretched long between the buildings. They ran, hearts pounding, footsteps loud against the metal ground. Behind them, voices shouted. Two escaping through the east alley. They turned corner after corner until the sounds faded. Finally, Jake led her to an abandoned warehouse on the edge of the mining zone. He locked the door and leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "We're not safe for long," he said. Kira dropped to the ground, her mind spinning. "I don't understand," she said. "Why would my government help build that thing?" "Because your leaders are afraid," he said. "Afraid of human expansion, afraid of losing control." He looked at her. "This isn't just about a weapon. It's about balance, power, and silence. They want to erase enemies before a fight even starts. And you want to stop them." "I have to." Kira stared at the floor, her home, her people, part of something so dark. It made her sick. Suddenly, a sharp knock hit the warehouse door. They both jumped. Knock, knock, knock. A pause. Knock, knock. Kira whispered, "That's a code knock. Old bounty hunter signal." "They found us," Jake said, already pulling her toward the back. But the door slammed open with a loud hiss. A tall figure stepped inside, wearing black armor, red visor glowing. "Bounty hunter, you're worth a lot, human," the figure said. Voice cold, robotic. "Dead or alive?" "Doesn't matter." The hunter raised a pulse gun. Kira stepped in front of Jake before she could even think. "Don't," she said. "Move, girl," the hunter snapped. "He has proof," she said. "He's not the criminal." "Tell that to the credits," the hunter hissed. Then, without warning, Jake threw a metal spike from his boot. It hit the wall beside the hunter. A flash of light burst, bright and loud. The room filled with smoke. Jake grabbed Kira and ran through the back exit. As they ran deeper into the mining tunnels, Kira heard the hunter behind them. Not far. Breathing heavy, Jake stopped at a steel door. He entered a code. It opened into a hidden passage lit by blue lights. "Where are we?" Kira asked. "Safe, for now." She followed him in. But even as the door shut behind them, her thoughts raced. This man, this human, wasn't just a fugitive. He might be the only one left who could stop a war. And she had just become part of his fight. Hunted and hiding. They ran. The hidden tunnel was narrow and cold, carved deep into the bones of Valyra 9's forgotten mining sector. Old lights flickered above, casting shadows on the walls. Kira's footsteps echoed alongside Jake's, but the sound behind them never stopped. The bounty hunter was still coming. "This tunnel goes where?" Kira asked between breaths. "A smuggler route," Jake replied, his voice tight. "It leads to the lower transport docks. Abandoned, but there's an old ship hidden there. A working ship. I fixed it last time I was here. Barely flies, but it's all we've got." They turned a sharp corner, and Jake slammed a keypad on the wall. The tunnel ahead lit up dimly, revealing rusted pipes, loose wires, and signs of long-abandoned life. Graffiti marked old walls. Names, warnings, sometimes prayers. Kira's eyes caught one word scratched deep into the metal. Traitor. She didn't ask who it was about. Outside, the bounty hunter stood at the tunnel entrance. The smoke from Jake's flash bomb had cleared. He crouched, touching the floor, scanning the footprints. His visor blinked red. 2 targets, 1 human, 1 Valyran. He clicked a device on his wrist. Targets confirmed. Transmit location to Alliance Intercept Unit. From above, a dark figure moved across a nearby rooftop. Another hunter. The price on Jake's head was rising. Inside the tunnel, Kira slowed down. "Jake," she said softly, "why me?" He looked over his shoulder. "What do you mean? Why did you knock on my door? Why not someone else?" He hesitated. "I saw your ad, yes. But more than that, I heard about you." Her eyes narrowed. "From who?" My old crew, he said. Before they were killed, we had contacts on Valera. Your name came up as someone quiet, trustworthy, with no ties to the Alliance. Kira stepped back. So you used me? No, I was desperate. But I stayed because you didn't ask questions. You treated me like a person. The tunnel shook slightly. Kira leaned against the wall. You brought death to my door. And I'm trying to stop worse death from finding everyone else, he snapped. They reached the lower docks, giant metal caverns filled with dust and old machines. Broken ships sat like dead animals, their wings torn, engines missing. But in the corner, covered in a black tarp, was one ship that still breathed. A small stealth cruiser, dented, patched with scrap, but alive. Jake ran to it and tapped the control panel. Lights flickered on. Get inside, he said. We have minutes. Just as the engines began to hum, a shot rang out. A red beam sliced through the air, hitting the ground near Kira's feet. She screamed and ducked. The bounty hunter stepped into the hangar, his weapon raised. You can't run forever, Turner, the hunter called out. Not planning to, Jake replied, pulling Kira into the ship. He slammed the hatch shut. Inside, sparks flew from the dashboard. Fly now, or die later, Kira said. He grinned despite the chaos. Hold on. The ship roared to life, engines shaking the floor. Just as the hunter fired another blast, the cruiser lifted off, smashing through a rusted gate and into the open sky. The stars opened up in front of them, but peace was still far away. Kira watched from the side as Jake piloted with steady hands. Behind them, the bounty hunter's ship followed fast. We're not out yet, Jake muttered. Then where do we go? The only place left, he said. The sanctuary zone. But that's a myth. Not to me. My crew built a relay there, a hidden one. We stored everything. Backup chips, recordings, even evidence of the Alliance's betrayal. How far? 3 jumps. But we won't make it unless we lose him first. He pointed to the back. Go to the weapons system. It still works. Barely. Kira ran. The ship shook again. Another hit. Shields down 10%, she shouted. Give me cover fire. She tapped the controls, aiming at the pursuing ship. Red lights flashed as old missiles launched into the darkness. 2 missed. 1 hit. The hunter's ship spun, trailing smoke, but kept coming. He's insane, Kira said. So am I, Jake replied. Finally, Jake flipped the ship into a dive. Gravity shifted. Kira slammed into the wall. They dropped fast, straight toward a red gas giant. What are you doing? She screamed. Hiding. In its rings. He pulled the ship into the thick cloud of dust and rock. Small meteors slammed into the hull. The screen went static. Turn everything off, he said. Now. She hesitated, but obeyed. The ship went dark. No power. No light. No sound. Only breath. Outside, the hunter's ship passed once. Twice. Then faded into the distance. Silence. They had made it. An hour later, they floated in the shadows. Jake restarted the systems. We live another day, he said. Kira looked at him. Why keep going? Why not just disappear? He looked at her, voice low. Because if we don't show the truth, they win. She nodded slowly. Then asked, what's really on that ship? He pulled it out, holding it in the faint light. Not just weapon blueprints, he said. There's a list of names. People involved. From both sides, officials, generals, scientists. Kira's stomach turned. My uncle's name is General Tavek, she whispered. If his name is on that list. Then you need to decide something, Jake said, eyes meeting hers. Who do you stand with? The ship beeped. Coordinates set. Sanctuary zone ahead. But trust between them. Still uncertain. What he knew could destroy 2 worlds. The stars stretched like cold fire across the black sky as Jake's ship approached the edge of known space. Behind them, the red gas giant disappeared into shadow. Ahead, silence. Kira sat beside Jake in the cockpit, her eyes locked on the blinking dot on the screen. Sanctuary zone. Coordinates confirmed. This place, she said softly. It's not on any map. It's not supposed to be, Jake replied. My crew found it by accident. Old mining station, shut down decades ago. No life, no signal. Perfect place to hide. He glanced at her. And to store the truth. Kira didn't answer. Her mind was still spinning. Her uncle's name, General Tavek, might be on that chip. Her blood, her family, tied to a weapon that could wipe out planets. They dropped out of hyperspace near a broken asteroid field. In the distance, floating between two moons, was the Sanctuary, an old space station, round, rusted, forgotten. Most of its lights were dead. Metal panels peeled off its sides like skin from a corpse. It looks dead, Kira whispered. It is, but the relay inside still works, Jake said. If we can power it up, we can send the data to every major news channel across the galaxy. And then I disappear, Jake said, or die trying. They docked the ship with a loud screech of metal. Inside, the station smelled of dust and oil. Air was thin, recycled once too often. Walls were covered in old markings, crew names, dates, warnings. They walked through narrow corridors, Jake leading the way with a small flashlight. This place gives me chills, Kira said. It should. 3 of my friends died here. She looked at him. How? Trying to protect the relay when bounty hunters came. He stopped at a sealed door, wiped the dust from a panel, and entered a code. The door hissed open. Inside was a small room with one terminal. Old, but working. This was the relay. Jake pulled out the chip. Once I upload this, the truth is out, he said. But as he reached for the port, Kira stepped back. Wait. He paused. Before you do that, show me the names. He hesitated, then tapped the screen. Names scrolled by. General Tavek, Admiral Rowan, Senator Michael, Ambassador Thurn. Kira stepped closer. Stop. Her eyes locked on a name. Lyra Evistra. Her mother. No, Kira whispered. That's a mistake. You know her? Jake asked. She died when I was 12. An explosion. No body was found. Jake's voice dropped. Then she didn't die. Kira felt the floor shift under her. She was listed as part of Project Echo, Jake said quietly, the same project that built the core destabilizer. Kira backed away. She was a scientist, she said. She worked in energy research, that's all. Or so she told you. Kira clenched her fists. You're saying my mother helped build a weapon that kills entire planets. I'm saying, Jake said slowly, your family may be the reason this war starts. A loud beep cut the silence. Motion detected. Someone's here, Kira said, spinning toward the door. They found us, Jake growled, pocketing the chip. He grabbed her hand. We move. Now. They ran through the station's dark halls. Sparks lit the air as gunfire slammed into the walls. Bounty hunters. Not 1. Not 2. A full squad. They brought a team, Jake said. They want the chip before we broadcast it. Then give it to me, Kira said. What? You run. I'll take the chip. I'll upload it. No. You're the one they want, she said. They'll chase you. I'll go the other way. He looked at her, torn. You don't know how to work the relay. You'll guide me. Through comms. Another blast shook the station. Jake, she said firmly, trust me. He hesitated, then placed the chip in her hand. If they catch you. They won't, she said. Go. Jake turned and ran toward the decoy ship bay, drawing fire. Kira sprinted in the opposite direction, clutching the chip to her chest. She reached the relay room, locked the door behind her, and slid the chip into the terminal. The screen lit up. Upload in progress. Her hands trembled as she connected the broadcast. "This is Kira Evestra of Valera 9, she said aloud. "What you're about to see will change everything." She hit transmit. All over the galaxy, news screens, personal devices, even ship dashboards began to flicker with blue light. Then the truth began to spread. In the other wing, Jake fought like a man with nothing to lose. 2 bounty hunters down. But a third grabbed him, slammed him to the wall. "Where's the chip?" the hunter growled. "Gone," Jake said, grinning. "The whole galaxy has it now." The hunter raised his weapon, but froze as his comm lit up. "Order compromised. Mission aborted." A high-pitched screech filled the station. The bounty hunters began to retreat. "What's happening?" Jake asked. Kira's voice came through the comms, shaking with emotion. "It worked, Jake." The transmission went through. When they met again at the ship, Kira's face was pale. Her hands still shook. "My mother, she was alive." "Working with them," she said. Jake nodded. "I'm sorry." She looked at him. "And my uncle? He's already been removed from command." "It's over then." Jake looked out the window at the stars. "No," he said. "It's just beginning." Far away, 2 worlds watched the news. Riots, arrests, people waking up from lies. The truth had been buried deep. But now, it was burning. She stood alone, but not for long. The ship hovered above the broken sanctuary station. Sparks still danced from its sides, and echoes of the battle drifted into the void like dust. Inside the cockpit, Kira sat in silence. Jake stood near the control panel, adjusting the navigation system, but his eyes kept drifting toward her. She hadn't spoken in 20 minutes. Not since they watched her mother's face appear on the data files. Not since the truth broke the last pieces of her childhood memory. "Kira," Jake said softly, "we should move." She didn't reply. The galaxy was on fire now. His plan had worked. The chip had reached every major broadcast network. The hidden project, codenamed Echo, was no longer a secret. World leaders were falling. Civil protests erupted on Valera 9. And now, a new war had begun, not between species, but between the people and their rulers. And Kira, she was suddenly at the center of it all. Her hands were cold. She remembered being 5 years old, sitting on her mother's lap. Her mother's voice had been soft, kind, full of stories about light and energy. Kira believed her mother was a hero. Now she knew the truth. Lyra Evestra wasn't just a scientist. She was one of the minds behind the core destabilizer, the weapon meant to silently erase entire civilizations. "She lied to me," Kira whispered. "My whole life." Jake didn't speak. He let her feel the weight. "My uncle, my mother. How many more?" she asked. "Too many," Jake said. "And what now?" Kira looked up at him. "What do I do with this name? This blood?" He stepped closer. "You decide what it means," he said. "You don't have to run from it. You can fight with it." Suddenly, the ship alarm rang out. "Incoming message. Classified channel. Encryption locked." Kira stared at the blinking screen. "How?" "It's for you," Jake said. "It's using a Veliran military code." She tapped the panel. A voice came through, tired, old, and shaking. "Kira, if you hear this, it means you've seen what I've done. And what I became. I didn't die. I disappeared. I helped them build the weapon. And then I ran. I couldn't destroy it. I was too afraid. Too weak." Kira froze. "You are braver than me. You always were. If you want to end this, truly end it, you must go to the vault. The original data core. Coordinates attached. Everything. The first plans, the names, the truth is still there. You must show them everything, even if it destroys our name." The message ended. Jake looked at her. Your mother left you the final piece. Kira nodded slowly. Set course, she said. We're going to the vault. They jumped to hyperspace. The journey was quiet, deep, emotional. No words needed. When they arrived, the vault floated inside a cracked asteroid, sealed behind thick layers of black rock. Old drones circled it like ghosts. No lights, no sounds. This place is older than the war, Jake whispered. Some say it was built by the first star engineers. Kira touched the door. It opened for her. Inside was darkness, but her mother's voice echoed from a device at the center. This is your truth, Kira. Choose what kind of daughter you want to be. She stepped forward, placed her hand on the panel, and activated the core. Holograms lit up the room. Not just blueprints, but video logs, conversations, secret deals, faces of people who shake destruction from inside peace, including Lyra Evistra. Kira turned to Jake. This will destroy everything they built. He nodded. Good. She smiled slightly, then uploaded the final transmission. Outside, satellites caught the signal. It spread faster than fire. The truth was complete. But as they stepped outside the vault, another ship appeared in the distance. Jake raised his blaster. That's not one of ours. They followed us. No, Kira said slowly, narrowing her eyes. They were waiting. The ship landed. Out stepped an alien woman in gold armor. Her eyes were silver, her voice strong. Kira Evistra, she said, bowing her head. On behalf of the Resistance, we thank you. Resistance? Kira asked. We've waited years for someone with access to the vault. Your mother once promised to finish what she started, but failed. Now you've done it. Jake stepped forward. What now? The woman looked at them both. Now, we rebuild. Together. She handed Kira a small badge. Council of Peace. Temporary chair. Kira blinked. Me? They trust you, the woman said. They believe in what you exposed. They want you to lead. Kira looked at Jake. He smiled. Told you you were brave. As the stars stretched across the sky, Kira felt the weight of her name and the strength of her choice. She was no longer running, no longer hiding. She was ready to fight for peace, not with weapons, but with truth. They changed everything, together. The new council chamber was not made of glass or gold. It was an old transport hangar, cleaned out and rebuilt by the Resistance. Metal chairs, flickering lights, and long, deep scars across the floor told the truth. This was not about luxury. It was about rebuilding from ashes. Kira stood at the front, her fingers tight around the badge she had been given, the symbol of the new peace movement. Around her sat leaders from both sides, human generals who had defected, alien elders who had lost families, journalists who once lived in fear, and in the center of it all, her. We know what they did, Kira said, her voice calm but sharp. We saw the blueprints. We saw the names. Now we choose what happens next. Silence followed. Then someone stood. An elder from the Veliran High Court. His robes were torn at the sleeves. You carry a name of betrayal, he said to her. Why should we trust you? Kira didn't flinch. Because I was betrayed too, she said. By my family, by my leaders. But I chose the truth. Jake watched from the side, standing near a half-repaired drone. He said nothing. His eyes were steady, proud. The elder nodded, and the vote began. One by one, hands were raised. The new peace charter passed. Unanimously. But peace never comes without one final shadow. As the council celebrated, Jake's comm device buzzed once. Quiet, hidden. He stepped away and answered. A voice spoke through static. Code Omega. Target moving. Protocol 0. Sector 12. His face went pale. He ran back toward Kira. We have a problem, he said. In the edge sector of Veliran 9, a ship was falling. not crashing, descending. But it wasn't a normal ship. It was black, silent, and shaped like a dagger. No lights, no signals, no ID. Kira and Jake arrived first, landing on the edge of a burned-out city where the ground still smelled like old war. They stood on a rooftop, watching the strange ship touch down in the dust. "I know that model," Jake whispered. "It's one of the old Alpha-class assassins. We thought they were destroyed." "Who would be using that now?" Kira asked. "Only one type of person," Jake said. "Someone who doesn't want peace." The ship's door opened, and out stepped Lyra Evestra. Kira's heart stopped. Her mother. Alive. Real. Standing in the dust, with the same calm face she remembered as a child. But now, colder, sharper, older. "Kira," Lyra said, stepping closer. "You did well." "You knew I was alive," Kira said, her voice cracking. "Yes. And you let me believe you were dead. For your safety." "Don't lie to me," Kira said. "Not anymore." Lyra's eyes softened, but only slightly. "You've exposed the truth. I knew you would. And now, you must help me finish it." "Finish it?" Kira asked. "We already did." "No," Lyra said. "The chip you had, it was only one part. The vault. A backup. But there is a final file. The command list. The people still in power, hiding underground, planning to strike back." "Then give me the file," Kira said. "I will," Lyra said, "if you do one thing." "What?" "Leave Jake behind." The air went still. Jake stepped forward. "Of course," he said, half laughing. "Of course she'd say that." Lyra looked at him with something like regret. "You are dangerous," she said. "You make her weak." "No," Jake said. "She was weak under your shadow. She's strong now. Stronger than you ever were." Kira looked between them. Her mother. And the man who risked everything for the truth. One gave her life. The other gave her purpose. She stepped forward and stared into her mother's eyes. "You had your chance," Kira said. "Now it's mine." Lyra didn't move. "You would give up your own blood." "I would give up anything," Kira said, "to protect what we built." Behind her, Jake tapped his comm. "Ready," he said softly. 3 drones flew out of the sky, surrounding Lyra. "You're under arrest for crimes against galactic peace," Kira said. "You can give us the final file, or we will take it." Lyra smiled. "You're more like me than you think." "Maybe," Kira said, "but I chose a better path." Lyra handed over the final drive. And as the drums led her away, the wind picked up. Dust blew across the city like memory. Back at the council, Kira uploaded the final data. Names lit the screen. Faces, voices, the last roots of corruption burned under the light of truth. And this time, there would be no shadows left. Weeks later, Kira stood on the steps of the new Unity Tower. Jake beside her. The crowd below roared with hope. She raised her voice one last time. "Truth changed us. Trust saved us. And now, together, we move forward." Applause shook the sky. That night, Jake looked at her under the stars. "You never asked for any of this," he said. "No," she replied. "But I was chosen by the truth." "What now?" "Now," she smiled. "We live." And in the darkness, under broken stars and rising hope, they stood, no longer fugitives, no longer alone, but legends, together.